Oh, hey everybody. Welcome back to She Blurs podcast. Today I have Richelle Delia. She
Got it.
is a investor, correct? A
Yes,
real
ma'am.
estate
A
investor.
real estate investor. Correct. You got it.
So can you tell our listeners a little bit about yourself?
My pleasure. And again, thank you so much, Brooke, for having me on the show today. I'm really, really excited to chat with your audience and chat a little bit about, myself and obviously just have a great conversation. But yes, so my name is Richelle Delia, and I am a real estate investor. So my husband and I have a real estate education and development firm. It's called Housing Joint Venture. And what we do is we help ambitious professionals explore income property ownership as a way to diversify their income, to build generational wealth, or as a safety net. Because, at the time of recording, we're just after coronavirus and kind of still living in the pandemic lifestyle. So a lot of us are looking for safety nets and additional forms of income generation. So that's what we do.
Amazing. So can you explain all of that? Like, I'm
Yeah.
lost.
Yeah, no problem at all. So basically, so when I say income property ownership, basically that's real estate, but not just any kind of real estate. That's real estate that's specifically meant to generate income for yourself. So obviously you live in a house and I live in a house. And so those are pieces of real estate, but they don't necessarily pay us every month, right? We spend money, to your mortgage holder or to your landlord or whoever so that you can have the benefit of occupying that space. When you are an income property owner, then the people that live in the property or use it for their business or whatever, they pay you rent every month. Okay. And so you are the rent receiver.
Okay. So it's not like a landlord, is it?
It is. It's being a landlord. It's being a landlord. You don't necessarily have to do the landlording, as in the property management, if you don't want. But it is being the owner of the property. So you're able to grow a lot more if you don't necessarily be I'm going to call it property manager or landlord. But yes, you are the property owner. So you can choose to do that. I'm going to call it customer service or not. But yes, we teach people how to do that and grow a portfolio of many properties.
That's amazing. So what is the process? Like, what do you have to do? What do you have to go through? The strategy you all use? Like,
Absolutely.
I'm like,
yeah. And you hit the nail on the head, right? So it's really about figuring out what that strategy is and how it's going to benefit you. So, Brooke, the lifestyle that you're trying to lead may look different than what I'm trying to lead, right? And so it's about choosing properties and locations that really support the lifestyle that it is that you want. So how you get started, one, figure out where you're going. What it is that you want. I would say my biggest mistake, not necessarily a huge mistake, but was setting goals that were too small. So I know you and I just finished chatting about how you've gotten your certificate in photojournalism and, you're trying to figure out the next step. When I was so I went to grad school and I have an engineering background. So I'm a nerd, full disclosure. Okay. And so all my formal education is in chemical engineering.
oh, nice.
And when I went to go get a Ph.D, I was like, okay, I'm going to be living in this city for 5 years because PhDs take a long time. And I was like, okay, if I'm going to be living here, then it probably makes sense for me to own the place as opposed to having to pay rent for all that time.
Right.
So I didn't do anything crazy. I just bought a small little condo, 2-bedroom, 1 bath, nothing crazy. And I rented out the spare bedroom with my department mates. So basically my schoolmate was my roommate. They paid me rent. I bought shoes with the money. Okay. I'm not going to tell you I did anything crazy. I didn't. I bought shoes. Okay. All my money went to DSW. I'm going to tell you the truth. But it got me in the game, right? And it got me great started. And so I was like, wow, this is something that's valuable and like legitimate. So long story short, after supporting my shoe addiction for many years, I graduated, and let me tell you, engineering school is hard and I was tired.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
It was too much. So I went on this like eat, pray, love, Elizabeth Gilbert, I'm going to just go and find myself trip, right? So totally, I'm going for 30 days to the Middle East and to Northern Africa and just find myself. And at the time, I had gotten a property manager to manage my condo while I was away. Well, one of the days I was checking my email And the property manager sent me an email and said, hello, you've gotten your rent paid for the month. The money has been deposited in your bank account.
Wow.
Now, at the time of reading the email, I am in Portugal, living my best life. I think we're on to something.
Yes.
You know, I don't know how I've done this, but this is pretty much the life cheat code. I want more of this.
Yes.
And that is really what took, that's what made real estate investing much more than just a, one little condo to okay, this is something I really want to spend more time in cultivating and growing. Yes. And that's the origin story. And there have been other points of epiphany since then. But that's where it all got started.
That's amazing. I'm gonna have to tell my brother about this because he was talking about what he wanted to do. Like yes. He wanted to put $50,000 and buy a house with just $50,000. Just go ahead and buy it out.
Yes.
And then he wanted to live in there for a while, fix it up, and then move, and then rent that house out. And then have that person. Yeah, and I'm like, wow, that does sound smart.
It is smart. It is smart. And let me tell you why. Because when you own income property, not only is it, something that can generate income for you, but also the tax advantages are phenomenal. Okay. So basically you get to, so let's say your brother buys his house for $50,000. You and I are in the United States, and most countries around the world have the same similar structure. But in the United States specifically, our tax code says that a property is only, I want to say good, 27 and a half years. Okay. And there's something called depreciation. So what that means is it says that every year, this property reduces its usable life by 1/27 and a half. Okay. And so every year you get to write off your taxes that 1/27.5 amount. And so that is a tax reduction that you get just by owning the property. Now, you and I both know that houses last more than 27 and a half years. Like I'm in Ohio, I'm in a 100-year-old house right now. So that's just an accounting thing, right? Mm-hmm. And that's amazing because not only do you get the income, but you get the tax advantages from it as well. And then I love to buy things in cash. So your brother and I, he's our people. Even if you choose to get a loan on it, here's the thing. There's something called inflation, which means that your money doesn't go as far. So I'll make it plain. So like when I was in high school, I could fill up my gas tank from, I used to say from E to F, from empty to full for a $20 bill. Okay?
Yeah, right.
Today, for me to go from E to F for that same vehicle is about $35. Mm-hmm. So that means that in order for me to get the same output, a full tank of gas, I have to put more money in. That's inflation. It costs me more to get the same output.
Right.
That means in terms of income property is that your money that you're paying back the mortgage with is less valuable than the money you borrowed. So you're giving them less valuable dollars. So when you bought the house, you could get a full tank of gas for your mortgage payment. But now the bank can't even get a full tank of gas, but you're paying the same amount. That's why real estate is makes it a very unique asset class.
Mm-hmm. So, because I wanted to buy me a house next year, but I was going to get a loan. And my brother was like, I don't think you should get a loan. I don't want to have to pay the interest. Like, will that happen whenever you do take out a loan to buy a house? You have to pay interest, right?
You wouldn't have to pay interest, but remember what I just said. Remember, every year you're paying it back because inflation happens. Your money you're paying it back is less valuable. So it's really not a question of if you pay inflation or if you pay interest or not. It's a matter of, are you gaining more by owning the property than the interest costs you? So there are many reasons why you would choose to buy with a loan versus not. And that's a personal decision that you'd have to make, and based on your investment strategy and things like that. But I would not tell you that getting a loan is a bad decision because it's not necessarily one. But if you choose to live in the property where it will not be producing you income, then maybe it makes sense to buy it outright. And it just depends on your risk tolerance and your safety standards and things like that. But I've done both. They both work out well, and it just depends on what it is that you're trying to accomplish.
Okay, because I was scared. Like what I was going to do was save up from now until next fall, like September, October, I was going to save up $60,000. Like, that's my limit. I'm going to save up $60,000 and then put that down on a house, because I know the house that I want to buy is way more expensive than 60,000. So it might be 120,000 maybe, but I'm putting 60 on that. And I am so scared to take out a loan because of the interest, because I already got a new car and that interest is high. And I'm just like, I don't know if I want to do that on a house. Like, I don't know if that will be a good idea. Like, my brother's like talking me into buying it right out.
Well, let's have a conversation about assets versus liabilities. Okay. There's a wonderful book. I don't know if you've read it. It's called Rich Dad Poor Dad. I don't know if you've had a chance to read it as yet.
No, I haven't.
If not, I highly, highly recommend it. I think it would help you think about these things in a variety of ways. So basically, an asset is something that the way that it's explained in the book is as simple as possible. So an asset is anything that puts money in your pocket every month.
Right.
A liability is anything that takes money out of your pocket every month. Right. Okay. So your car, unless you rent it out, or you drive Lyft or Uber, it's going to take money out of your pocket every month.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And so having a loan on a liability is not a good thing, because you're paying money to pay money. Like, it's not putting any money in your pocket every month. So it's actually a liability. So that's why having a loan on a car may not be such a good idea. And I should preface this. While I do have a financial license, I am not your financial advisor. So, yes, but I do have a financial license. So I will say that. Okay. So anyway, an asset, though, is something that puts money in your pocket every month. So let's talk about this house that you're going to buy. If you buy this house and you just live there, and not just live there, but if you choose to live there, and you're baking sourdough bread because we're still in quarantine lifestyle and just hanging out, essentially, that's still going to take money out of your pocket every month, right? You're still going to have to just spend money on it because you still have property taxes, right? You're still going to have to pay utilities. So it's going to cost you money every month. In that regard, it will be a liability. Okay. Yeah. Now, let's say that you buy a house and it has 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. Most houses do. And let's say you get roommates. You live there and you have roommates. Now, it's an asset, because now your house is paying you money every month because you're the owner.
Okay.
So the beautiful part about it is almost anything can be an asset or a liability. It's really a matter of, is it putting money in my pocket, or is it taking money out of my pocket? Is it making me richer or poorer?
Yeah, I'm so scared because I don't want roommates, but I do want a new house. But I don't know. I'm going to have to think really, really hard on this now because I'm really scared. and I'm looking up.
And education helps reduce fear. Fear just means that you don't know enough. That's all that means. That means that you don't know enough. And secondly, sometimes the things that scare us the most, they're an indicator of the actions that we should go, that's the direction we should go. So just because it's unknown doesn't mean it's a bad idea. It means that that's an area of additional education, right?
Yes, because my plans were to buy this house and then fix it up like what my brother's doing, and then renting it out, and then moving and then renting it out. That's what I was planning on doing, but I don't want I don't want to be stuck. You know what I'm saying? Like get stuck.
What does that mean? Tell me, what does that mean?
Like, get stuck, like, what if I lose my job and then I can't pay the mortgage? And then I would have to have somebody move in, and I really don't do well with roommates. And I'm just like, I don't know. It's going to be a big step and something that I really need to think hard about.
Okay. So basically what I'm hearing is you're concerned about being able to make the mortgage payment if you lose your job. Okay. So
like, let's say another virus comes up and then I am out of a job and then out of income, like stuff like that.
Fair point. Okay. And you don't want roommates. Okay. So basically you have 2 options. Either you'll have to just take the risk, or you'll have to continue to live wherever you live now and use that property as 100% rental. Here's the thing that happened in coronavirus. People weren't leaving. They weren't going anywhere. So what does it mean? That means that they people whose lease expired, they automatically renewed because it was not a good time to go and look for another place to live.
Right.
So as an income property owner, we did not experience a lot of turnover at all.
Oh.
Like less than normal, right? Because who wants to go searching into a whole bunch of houses that might have corona in it? I know.
Right.
I better stay in the house I already have, own it or not. Like I'm just gonna stay here. And a lot of residents felt the same way, right? So that's one thing. And the thing about it is that's a math problem. So remember in the beginning, we talked about strategy. So having a strategy when it comes to your investing or your purchasing of property is really about making sure that the number that you buy it for and the monthly payment and everything, that it's a conservative enough number so that no matter what happens, you're covered, right?
Yeah.
So here's some unsolicited potential advice, right? So let's say you have this $60,000 and you want to buy a $120,000 house. Okay. Let's assume this is your first house, your first property. You can put only 10% down. So $120,000 house, you can put as low, I mean, you can put less than that, but let's say you're going to put 10% down. You can even put 20%, which is probably even better. So, you can put anywhere from $12,000 down, which would be 10%, 24,000 would be 20% down. Okay. Let's just say you're going to put, $25,000 down, just to make it easy. Okay. So you could put $25,000 down on the property. You could leave another $25,000 just in your savings account. Okay. As a safety net. And then that extra 10, because that's 50, right? That extra 10 can go towards a mutual fund or something else, right? And that way you have even more security, right? So you're still getting some growth with a mutual fund. You still have literally cash in the bank sitting, plus you have your house. And that way, no matter what happens, you already have, we call that reserve, right? So that savings amount, you can say, this is my house reserve. So that if I end up renting it out and if I lose my job, my tenant loses their job, and we have coronavirus wave the fifth, wave number 5, okay? Like everything goes to hell in a handbasket, then I'm still okay because I literally have all this cash sitting in reserves. Like that's a way to accomplish everything and still have peace of mind of knowing, hey, no matter what happens, I have this cash that is literally dedicated for my house and, my OMG fund is what you do, right?
Yes. I like those ideas. I'm definitely going to think about it. Think really hard because I have until next fall to think about it. So I'm good.
It's not about taking unnecessary risk. It's not about making yourself feel uncomfortable. It's about how you can progress financially and still feel confident.
Yes. I love those ideas. So what advice would you give those who are so you are giving me advice, but what other advice would you give us who are who would want to invest into a house and get in a house?
Make decisions based on the life that it is that you want. So as I mentioned, my biggest, I'll call it mistake in the beginning, was setting goals too low. So after that first house, that first condo that we discussed, I was like, oh man, what if I was able to get 10 houses and let's say they pay me $1,000 per month, that'll be $10,000 total income. That's amazing. Like, how about I have 10 of those houses by the time I retire? That sounds like a pretty good goal, right?
Yes.
Until my third year after school and I already had 14. Okay, now what? I'm only like 27, 28 at this point. So like, what am I going to do for the next, So like, I might need to set bigger goals. And so there was nothing wrong with my original goal. And it's a great goal, right? But as I learned more and I did more, and for, based on my experiences, I realized that, for me, investing in real estate is much more than just numbers on a balance sheet. It's really about how you can impact people's lives, because a home is so special and personal. That's where people's lives happen. And so there's something special about being a housing provider, because you are really, you're providing the place that is the most intimate for them. And I really think that's a very good thing, right? And we all know there's a lack of quality housing, particularly in the rental market. And so if you can provide high quality housing, that's something that is definitely needed. So because of that, the goals got bigger, because I'm like, wow, even at 10 houses, that's only 10 families. Like, what if I were able to provide housing for 50 families or 100 families,
Yeah.
like, and that's not even a lot of people, really. It's not even a lot of people, honestly. And so the goals got bigger over time. And so because of that, you have to do more as you choose to grow more. And so my advice is to really think diligently from the beginning about, how much of a component or not you would like this to be in your life. And it can change over time as you learn more. The goals can change, and that's perfectly fine. But don't allow fear. Don't allow fear. Hello. To limit your goals and limit what it is that you think you can do, just because it is only logical.
Definitely, I agree. That's good advice. What was the name of the book again that you said? I'm gonna look that up and I'm gonna get that book and read it.
You should highly recommend it. It's called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It's by a guy called Robert Kiyosaki. It is a very famous book. At this point, you can get it at your library. You can get it on Audible. I think the audiobook is probably even better because he does a little bit of ad-libbing, and even though it's a money and finance book, it's written like a short story. So it's very easy to read, very easy to listen to. The story is engaging. It's really good.
So do you do any chemical engineering, or do you just strictly do investing?
So I do still do some engineering because I'm a scientist and I like being a scientist. I do.
That's amazing.
But it's one thing to have to do work in the engineering field because you have to. It's another thing to do it because you want to, and you have the autonomy to say, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore, so I don't have to. Right. Mm-hmm. And so it allows you, so for people that are professionals that are listening to this, one of the things that I've learned is that having your own independent source of income is that it allows you to show up so much more authentically in all of your relationships, be that in corporate America, business life, or otherwise, because you have your own source of income. So you're not reliant on any one entity. No one can go into a boardroom and, and say, whatever, and that ruins your day. Like,
you're like, okay,
perfectly fine. I've long since earned more from outside investments than anyone has paid me in engineering. So that's.
Wow, that's amazing. So how long have you been an investor?
Well, like I started when I was in grad school. So that was when I was 21. I'm mid-30s now.
So we're the same age, basically.
Yes, I'm in my mid-30s now. And so a little bit of time. So I've been around. It's been a long time since that one little condo. At this point, we have properties in 4 cities across 2 different states. And, thinking of Corona, we just realized that, wow, there's so many people that don't know what real estate specifically as an asset class can do for them. So we started teaching and helping other people and really ramped up the education component of the business just to serve more since 2020.
That's nice. So on your website, I listed it below in our video. Yes. So on your website, if I go on there, then I could take classes to work with you all to learn how to invest. Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm definitely going to let my brother know about this. So he may be, investing too, trying to do it.
It will be our pleasure to help. I'm going to tell you the truth. We don't have a lot of capacity. So typically what we do is we help people soup to nuts. So it's really more of a hand holding, I'll call it step-by-step approach. Because a lot of people are, like you, Brooke, and like, this is my hard-earned money. I don't want to mess it up. And I'm going to say, honor the funds that I do have. So exactly. I want to make sure that when I spend this money, that I'm doing it with honor and integrity, and I'm doing the best that I can with it. So we're not just like some mill where you can just click and join. It's really I want to make sure that I can help you. So you go to housingjv.com and you go to /bootcamp. The landing page, the homepage takes you there as well. But /bootcamp, we have a value video. It's complimentary to listen to. And it talks about what it takes to build what we call $1 million portfolio, because that's really what's going to allow you to have that time, autonomy, and freedom. A lot of people get started in real estate and they just kind of struggle. They quit along the way, and ultimately they just never really get started. And so what is it that separates those, I'm going to call them $1 million investors, from people that can never really get off the ground? And so there's some real strategic decisions that you make in order to do so. And so we have a video that tells you all about that. And then after that, if you like our ethos, then feel free to set up a call and be happy to chat you through that. It'd be our honor to help you and anyone else enter the wonderful world of real estate.
I'm definitely going to refer my brother too to see if he wants to get in on it, because he definitely he's good at money. He's good. I'm not good at money, but he's good at money. I'm just starting to save money, but he saves like everything.
Me too. I was a big saver, and that's how I know you want to make saving money is, it takes a lot of time and effort and diligence. And so when you're going to invest it, you're like, I want to do this right. Like it took me too long to earn it in a sense. So I want to make sure that when I invest it wisely. And so for me, it's worthwhile to invest in someone to show me how to invest it wisely. You know what I mean? If I'm going to spend $50,000, I can spend 10, 20, something percentage of that towards making sure I keep the bulk of it safe and secure.
Yes. So my brother, because he's looking for a house, and I kept sending him like a list of houses. He was like, man, you sent me like 50 houses already. He was like, you need to be a real estate agent. I'm like, I was like, oh, no, all that.
Looking at houses is the fun part. Honestly, what we suggest and help our clients do is really think about, again, going back to that strategy piece, because I say it's kind of like dating. You're a lady. I'm sure you have a list. I had a list before I was married. You have a list. You know what you're looking for, right?
Yeah.
And whenever he comes, you're going to be like, oh, okay, you got this, and this. All right, I'm ready. Let's do this, right? And buying a property is exactly the same way. You kind of got to know what you're looking for before you start looking. Otherwise, you end up, with some rando, and you're like, how did I end up with this dude? Like, this is not what I wanted. Okay, like, no, you're not good enough. And investing is the same thing. You want to make sure that you have your strategy in place beforehand and make it a screening mechanism. That way, when your sister sends you 50 houses, you can say, nope, this one doesn't fit. Nope. Nope, you're blocked. Type of thing.
He does that too. He was like, I don't know about this one.
Right.
Exactly. So what is your marketing process? Like, how do you all market your business, like your website and stuff?
So obviously chatting with people like yourself is a great way that we do that. We're not that big on social media, to be honest with you, because like I mentioned, it's more of we want to serve people with integrity and make sure that we can really help them as much as possible. So we run a few ads, but nothing crazy, to be honest. A lot of the times monthly we offer complimentary webinars that teach people about real estate investing, tax advantages, a lot of stuff that we've talked about today. But it's really about giving value first, and people that keep what we do and like what we're talking about, then they'll be like, hey, I want to learn more.
I definitely do. Because I have my budget set up for what I'm going to do. So
exactly.
I just need to stop spending.
Right. Most people that work with us, they already know that real estate is for them. Okay. They just don't know the how. And, they don't want to waste time Googling, YouTubing, and patchworking a Craigslist strategy together. It's like, look, just tell me how to do it right. Tell me how to do it profitably and accelerate my path. And so that's why people work with us, because yes, I can funnel around, and yes, I can read 1,000 books, but I actually want progress, in the next 6 months, not 5 years from now.
Yeah, because I'm hands-on. I'm very hands-on and in person kind of, and I like details, and I like things to be explained to me, because if it's half explained, then I'm just like, I'm not even interested. I'm getting irritated. Like, that's how I do.
Right. Exactly. And I'm the same way. You're buying a result, right? That's what it is. You're like, I want this result. And the result that you want is income, or I want to be a property owner. That is the result that you want, right? And I want to sleep well at night while I'm a property owner, if I could work on it, right? Like, I want to own property. I think it's a good idea, but I don't want to be scared, and I actually want to sleep well at night after I own it.
Yes.
Right? That's the result that you're buying. And so how do you do that? The way you do that is you have somebody show you how to do it. You say, listen, this is how it's done. You want to know how it's done? This is it. Let me show you step by step. If I'm starting where you are, this is exactly what I would do. Do this first, and this, and this, and this, and this.
Yes. Because I remember you explained earlier that you had a condo and you rented it out to someone else. So would that, in your opinion, would that be the best option is to rent out like an apartment, like have an apartment complex and rent it out, or a condo and then rent the other half out? Like, would that be smart versus getting a house and then fixing it up and then renting it out? Like, what would be your opinion?
Again, it goes back to your strategy. So, it goes back to your strategy. So, one, I got a condo because that's all I could afford in the city that I was in. I was in Austin, Texas. Austin, Texas is very expensive. And I was going to school there. So there was no option of investing out of state or anywhere else because that's where I was living. And I just wanted to get in the game. Today, I would not purchase a condo because condos have HOA fees. So what that means is you have your mortgage, you pay your property taxes. Then there's this fee for being in the club of all the other people that own condos called a homeowners association fee. And that homeowners association fee can be pretty pricey. So, it just depends on how many amenities. So things like a swimming pool, your mailbox, mowing your grass, stuff like that. At the time, my HOA fees were over $250 per month.
What?
That's a big chunk of cash, right?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's a big chunk of money. So I would not purchase a condo if I could avoid that, right? Now, of course, again, I was living in it and I was trying to, do more of a longer term thing. Now, are there situations where that could work? Absolutely. If you're in a beach town in Miami, and you're able to earn, you know what I mean? Like in non-COVID times, you're able to earn $250 a night.
Right.
Irrelevant, right? So it all depends on the strategy.
Right.
There are no right answers and there are no wrong answers. That was my first one. When I moved to Ohio, I bought 3 houses while I still lived in an apartment. So I had renters paying me money and I was still a renter. I chose to rent out the houses as opposed to move into any of them. So, there are no rules. You can do anything that you want. And then when I ended up moving into a house, then, I rented out spare bedrooms until I was married. And so there are no wrong answers. The world is your oyster. It just depends on how aggressive you want to be with generating income for yourself.
Okay. I'm thinking that.
As a lady, I only rented to other ladies, because that's what made me feel comfortable. And so I rented to young ladies at the local university. That's who my roommates were after school.
Oh, okay. So it's something that I'm going to think about, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely think about that.
Again, there are no wrong answers. It really goes back down to your strategy. I know I keep saying this over and over again.
It makes sense, though. It does. I don't know. I've had like 5 roommates and I just don't get along with people because I'm like a certain way. I like certain things done a certain way. And I'm just like, and I get irritated. My dog is loud, so it upsets them. And I'm just like, I don't know if I want to do that, but I might do that. It
might not be the path for you, right? So, something else you could consider is, instead of one $120,000 house, you're in Louisville, if I understand, right? So I'm sure that you could find a house that is $60,000. So you could purchase 2 $60,000 houses as opposed to one $120,000 house.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Right? I could do that.
You could even buy 4 $30,000 houses or 3 $40,000 houses. You know what I mean? Like, so there are many ways to accomplish what it is you're trying to accomplish. Now, obviously, you living in a $30,000, $40,000 or $60,000 house may not have as many comforts as your $20,000 house, right? So you may not. That might be a compromise that is more palatable to you than having a roommate in your $120,000 house. And these are all just examples, but the thing about it is, again, it goes back to the strategy and what it is you're trying to accomplish. There are no wrong answers. If you're trying to maximize a revenue or lifestyle or whatever, all those things affect the choices that you make.
Oh, okay. Because when I was looking at houses on Zillow in Louisville, they all have HOA on them, all of them. And I'm like, what is HOA? And then when you just explained it to me, I'm like, well, why do they have a homeowners association? Like, do we have to pay those fees, or
Mhm.
is it optional?
It's not
Oh,
optional.
it's not.
It is
Oh
not
man.
optional. It is not optional. If you do not pay them, then they can foreclose and take your house, even if the mortgage has been paid. It does not matter.
What?
It is,
Wow. I did not know that at all. I'm learning so much.
it is not optional. No, that is not optional. Yes, you must.
Wow.
So,
Because the fees here are a lot cheaper than what she was saying. Like, it's like $50 and $75, but it's still money that you have to take out. But I didn't know that they can foreclose your house.
and the thing, remember, I was in a condo, so an HOA for a house is going to be more about upkeeping the general aesthetic of the neighborhood. So it maintains that curb appeal, so it feels pretty when you drive in, right? That's what it's going to be in a house, versus in a condo. In a condominium, you don't own the exterior of the property; you only own the interior of it. So the roof is not yours. The outside of you own the drywall on the inside, but not the bricks on the outside. Okay, like literally, you own the inside of the dwelling, but not the outside of the dwelling.
Wow.
And so that's the difference between a condo and a house, and all these different types of properties there are. So condos are typically going to have a higher HOA fee because they are responsible for replacing the roof and again mowing the grass and all those things. Versus a home situation, you still have your house, but that association due is more for again if there's a shared swimming pool or a clubhouse or something like that.
Oh, okay. I want to thank you so much for coming on and speaking with me about investing.
Yes, absolutely. It's been my pleasure. I'm so happy we got a chance to chat, and I hope that that's been helpful to you and the rest of the She Blurbs community.
Yeah, I learned a lot. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Have a great rest of your day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.